All right, people, welcome back to the show. This is GVS. Today's date is the 11th of June. We got an NBA Finals game tonight. It's going to be game 3 between the Pacers and the Thunder. We got a little bit of NFL stuff that I wanted to talk about. And then we have some interesting things developing in the NHL world. And so we'll talk on that too as well. And then probably one of the other big stories coming out of the NBA is the trade talks have started to ramp up a little bit for Kevin Durant. And so I thought I'd just, throw my hat in the ringer and give my thoughts and my opinions on where Kevin Durant might potentially be playing basketball when this next season starts. And so, yeah, if you guys are enjoying what you're watching, be sure to hit that like button and let me know in the comment section a sports take that you want me to cover and stuff, and I can try to give a prediction towards the end of the show. Okay, so let's start. First thing that I want to talk about, let's talk about the manner in which the Panthers beat the Oilers yesterday. It was a blowout. So Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final was a blowout. And I thought I'd give it a little bit of time before I gave my reaction. But my honest reaction to it was, and it was kind of echoed throughout kind of a lot of articles and sports media on discipline and how like the Panthers out-disciplined the Oilers. And it's like, well, yeah, when you're handing out 10-minute misconducts towards the end of the game, it's like, yeah, okay, the Panthers are playing a little bit more disciplined hockey. I just think with how just the game went, there's parts of me that think the Oilers were a little bit too aggressive, which led to breakaway goals. Bennett had a breakaway goal. Marchand, I think Marchand had a goal in that game as well. But their aggressive nature on let's send everybody in the box and let's try to get some shots on Bobrovsky, it led to opportunities for Florida to clear, which led to good looks, 2-on-1s, or just solo breakaways that the Panthers would end up putting in the back of the net. And that's not even to mention the extracurriculars after the whistle. So they kind of beat them before the fights ever even started. But I think, too, like, we know Florida, and we know the game that Florida plays, and we know kind of the game that, like, we know who the enforcers are on both teams, respectfully. And I think it's just funny that it got to the point where the most fight the Oilers were showing was when they were already getting blown out, 5-1. And then we had the line brawl with Gadjevich and Nurse. Nurse is he's a brute force, kind of an enforcer on the Oilers. We know Gadjevich, Bennett, Forsling, Ekblad. We know those guys are enforcers on Florida's team. So it's kind of funny and enjoyable to see those kind of brawls. But like the little extra stuff, because I think Kapanen got tossed. Who else got tossed? Like a handful of Oilers players got tossed. It just kind of, I guess it just kind of shows, because we saw to Marchand like one time when it went to, I think it was after he scored his goal or a little bit before he scored his goal. They're talking, and he, looks over at the Oilers sideline. He's talking about like mental toughness, and well, it showed. It showed because, Frederick went after Bennett, which that's when all hell broke loose in that game. But I'll be interested to see where the Oilers respond here, because to me, the manner, like, I thought, okay, we're going to leave Florida. This series is going to be tied 2-apiece. Like, I had a feeling Florida takes game 1, Oilers take games 2 and 3, and then Florida takes game 4. We leave Florida. But then with how the game went, like, it kind of shifted to where I still thought after game 4 the series is going to be tied at 2-apiece. Now, with how Florida won yesterday's game, where they're beating them not only physically but mentally, where they get under the Oilers' skin and they've got them where they want them. There's parts of me that think with how they lost last night, it will echo. Does that make sense? Where the manner of which they lost, we don't know if Skinner's going to be on net because there is no reporting on who's going to be the goaltender for Game 4. Personally, I'd lean towards Pickard. let Skinner collect his thoughts. Give him a little bit of time. If they're able to even the series at 2 apiece, great. If they go down 3-1, it's more for him to just regather himself. Let's get you behind, home ice and stuff. Kind of what Coach DeBoer should have done with Jake Ottinger in the Stars versus Oilers series. But with how the Oilers lost and like the manner of, well, we always throw out discipline. Oh, they're not playing disciplined hockey. I think it just kind of has a feeling of, okay, maybe with how they lost and how just like the emotions of Florida got to you. What if it seeps over and look at this, Florida gets them again in Game 4, where we have another kind of blowout on our hands, and now we're going back to Edmonton and the Oilers are down 3-1. Because I have a feeling that that'd be more realistic than after a blowout, Edmonton coming back and winning in a blowout fashion. Or like there's parts of me that think like if there weren't as many fights, like okay, the line brawl happened, whatever. But there's parts of me that think like if this game was a little bit more disciplined on both ends, there's parts of me that would think, okay, Florida, they had Edmonton's number that night, but just because Edmonton could keep it together and hold together, like not, okay, hey, let's fight every chance we get after the whistle. There's probably a difference in mentality of, okay, maybe Edmonton can bounce back. They lost, but they'll bounce. Like, I don't know. But I think we'll just have to see where Game 4 goes. Right now, I'd lean towards Florida, taking momentum of just beating the Oilers and having that mental game on them where they can tip the scale and make this thing 3-1. But we'll have to see. Oilers still have McDavid. They still have Draisaitl. Skinner's still a fine goalie. It's not like he's terrible. He just off night, Plus, it's interesting to see if they go to Pickard for the rest of this series because, when you look back at the LA series, hold on, let me get a swig here. When you look back at the LA Kings series, Skinner was playing booty, okay? We saw how Kopitar, we saw how the Kings just took advantage of games 1 and 2 and they went up 1-0. They went to Pickard and then they swept them. They did a reverse sweep. And so I think it wouldn't be bad for now. Again, Pickard hasn't played. He didn't play much in the Vegas series. He didn't play much in the Dallas series, so he has been sitting for a minute. But I'm interested to see where if they go to Pickard at net to let Skinner breathe a little bit, there's parts of me that think he'd be ready to go. You know what I mean? Versus kind of how we looked with the Hurricanes series where Godaljevic, I'm butchering his last name, but they let Will Anderson, Frederick Anderson, they let him sit for a game, and they let the other guy play, which he played phenomenal for like the first 40 minutes of that period. But then in the third period, that's when Panthers had an explosive, they scored 6 goals in the third period, and they ended up winning that. They went up 3-1 in the series. But they let Anderson sit for one, and then they came back, and then they ended up winning Game 4 to force a Game 5. So there's parts of me that think maybe that could be what benefits the Oilers. I don't know. You also got to look at, too, where Sergei Bobrovsky had only 1 goal allowed last night. So he's playing pretty decent. So again, we'll see. We're huge overreaction on just like one game. Like it's just one game in a full series. I think Edmonton's probably going to get another win or two at least in this series. And with how good the hockey is, this has to go 6. This has to go 6. This has to go 7. So that's just my thoughts on that. Okay, let's keep it moving. Let's talk a little bit about so that's my thoughts on the hockey with how Game 3 went last night. Let's keep things rolling. Let's look at there are potential trading spots and trading destinations. This one's heating up now as we're talking about the NBA Finals, getting ready for Game 3, but also we're talking a little bit about Kevin Durant. and how Kevin Durant might be on the trading market. So these are my thoughts on where he might go. One spot that I think has been very loud, and it's been very loud ever since the Suns were eliminated, the Rockets, the Houston Rockets. I think the Houston Rockets are up there. Do I think he stays in Phoenix? No. There's, I think, just contracts. He's a huge cap hit, and so there's that where the Suns cannot plan for the future because how much salary KD's taking on, and so that's why, like, if the Suns want to try to get ready and do like a little soft rebuild, the first thing would have to be KD's got to go because of how much money he's taken up. And I think we've seen, like, no shots or anything, but like we've seen how the KD experiment has gone in Phoenix. We've seen how with KD we've seen their exits in the playoffs in the past 3 postseasons. They got beat by the Nuggets, they got beat by the T-Wolves, and then this year they didn't even make the play. Because the first year with KD, they played the Clippers, but then the Clippers gave them all they could handle in game 1, but then Kawhi got injured. So you can kind of put a little, asterisk on that and how that series went as a whole. But then if I'm not mistaken, they played the Nuggets in the next round, and the Nuggets ended up beating them, but the Nuggets ended up winning the NBA Finals that year anyway, so it's like, okay, whatever. But with how the manner of which, like, I think the writing was kind of on the wall after they got swept last year by the T-Wolves with Anthony Edwards. And just, yeah, so I think, which has started all the buzz of, Booker's going to leave, Kevin Durant's going to leave, they're just going to blow the team up and plan for the future. I think now more than ever, I think what would like shock the league is if Booker goes to Detroit and KD goes to Houston, and it's like, okay, who now? The Suns would have to get a lot back for those kind of trades. I think Booker's staying, but I do think Kevin Durant's gone. So yeah, I think the Rockets are up for talks. I saw he wanted to go to the Knicks, and it's like, dude, you're not. No one's going to the Knicks. I think the Knicks are fine. I think other spots that he could potentially go to. I saw San Antonio. San Antonio keeps getting thrown out there, and I think San Antonio would be a fun spot just for. Well, you got Chris. Well, no, Chris Paul's not with the Spurs anymore. But you got Wemby. I think personally, I think Coach Malone's not going to be out of job too long, so I think Coach Malone might be coaching the Spurs or the Knicks in the fall. So you got that. So you got KD and Wemby on the Spurs. So it's like, okay, maybe that makes sense. But the other one, and everybody's been talking about it, Dallas. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like, I think there's parts of me that think KD goes to Dallas before KD would go to other teams, or KD could go to Milwaukee, give Giannis a little bit reason to stay, KD, Giannis, and Dame on the same team. I don't think that would be a bad opportunity. But again, like the ones that everybody's talking about is the Rockets. We'll see. We'll just have to see how this offseason plays out, but that's my thoughts on that. Oh, gosh. Well, on paper, when you look at it on paper, you got Klay Thompson, you got Kyrie. Klay Thompson, Kyrie, AD, Cooper Flag, and KD. KD or Giannis. I don't know. That'd look pretty good in Dallas's favor. But again, if Dallas is getting Giannis, then the Bucks are getting Cooper Flag. So it's like, you got to look at it from that point of view too. But that's all my thoughts on that. I don't know where KD's going. Chat. Who do you think? Where do you think KD's going? Be sure to let me know. All right. Plus, the other thing too is like, how much if he goes to the Knicks? How much money is he gonna ask? If he goes to, because obviously he's not like the Brooklyn situation. Well, Brooklyn had a team. Because we know he's not going to go to a team that's rebuilding like the Wizards, the Wizards, the Hornets, the not the Spurs, because the Spurs are rebuilding, but they're rebuilding in a different way because they at least have a superstar. They got Wemby, the Jazz, Celtics. I wouldn't. No, no, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. No, 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 no. I'm not gonna. No, no. I wouldn't wish that upon Celtics fans. I don't know. What would be funny too is if KD, because the other fun stuff that's been reported and looked at is, oh, KD might go to the Pacers. KD might go to the Thunder. It's like KD was already on the Thunder, and so we've seen what happened there. So it'd be funny. It'd be funny if KD did pull a LeBron and he had a little homecoming. I don't know. I don't think it would happen though. No way, no way, because with the core nucleus of who the Thunder have now, they'd have to get rid of everybody. Like the only people that would stay, like guaranteed. Well, I don't know. I don't know, but would KD mesh with Alex Caruso? Would KD mesh with SGA, with Chet Holmgren, with Jalen Williams? Like, I don't know. We'll see. Let's stay tuned. We'll see. We'll stay tuned. We'll see where it goes. I think they'll figure it out soon enough. Okay. While we're on the NBA, let's stay with the NBA. Some of the big stories. We got Game 3 of the NBA Finals tonight, and I'm leaning towards the Thunder tonight, and I know that's very controversial. No, but I think with just how, we've seen how the Pacers have played in Game 3s before. After stealing 2 in Cleveland against the Cavs, they dropped through Game 3. After taking a 2-0 series lead against the Milwaukee Bucks, the Bucks come back to take Game 3. And then even in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Knicks, they started off strong. They stole 2 in Madison Square. They came back. They lost Game 3. And so when you look at like how the Pacers have performed in these playoffs, losing Game 3s, there's parts of me that think, all right, this is where the Thunder take a 2-1 series lead. But then guess what? Pacers play phenomenal in Game 4, so they bounce back, and we even the series up at 2 apiece, heading back to Oklahoma City. We'll just have to see. I think, and I said it before the series ever even started. I'm leaning towards I'm gonna take the Thunder in 6, but traditionally speaking, because I could see this thing going the distance. I could see it going 7. The only thing that I was like, okay, this is going to happen because we've seen it in this postseason, is the Pacers are going to win 1 on the road, and they're going to win 1 at home. I can't guarantee, okay, they'll win 2 on the road, they'll win 2 at home, because I can't right now see the Pacers winning 4 games against the Thunder. I can't. I can see the Thunder beating the Pacers 4 times a lot better than I can see the Pacers beating the Thunder 4 times. And it's just with how well the Thunder have just been in this postseason. And we've seen it. After a close game, okay, you lost Game 1. Look at how they responded. Look at how they bounced back. SGA had another 30-plus point game at home. And so I think it would definitely be like, ooh, hello, if the Pacers take back series momentum tonight by winning Game 3 and winning Game 4, well, how many times have the Thunder lost back to back? Look at it from that point of view too. I don't know how many back to backs they've lost. But it would definitely, because the series is now even and it's kind of turned into a best of 5, Thunder would regain home court advantage with a win tonight. But then the Pacers would still have a stranglehold on the advantage of the series if they won tonight because they stole Game 1. So I don't know. definitely interesting. I think these next two games, games 3 and 4, definitely will determine how the rest of this thing goes. Because if the Thunder come in, they steal games 3 and 4. I could see them wrapping this thing up in game 5 and doing kind of like a gentleman sweep where, okay, Pacers, you won game 1, but we won 4 straight. Kind of like how the Oilers did to the Stars. But who knows? I think both teams are really good. We'll just see how tonight goes. We'll see how tonight goes. Plus, we've also seen too in home games like win or go home situation. Sometimes on the road, like we saw in the T-Wolves series for the Thunder, SJ had a pretty off night, and the whole team as a whole for the Thunder had an off night, which is why the T-Wolves blew them out to extend the series. But we saw how the series ended, anyways. But tonight with just kind of everything that's going on, I'm leaning towards a close game. But a close Thunder win. Like, I don't think this is going to be a blowout. I don't think that, because remember how last game the Thunder were up by like 20 for the majority of the whole game. Like, they were up at half, in the third quarter, into the fourth quarter. Like, they kept arm's length the whole time. And the point favorite, they're at least up by 15, 13, or 20 for all aspects of the game. And there's parts of me that feel that's not what. Excuse me. That's not what tonight's going to be. There's parts of me that think with home court advantage and the Pacers playing at home, they're able to keep it close a little bit, and the Thunder might sneak out a win, but it's not like, okay, you were up by 30 the whole game. So I think it might be closer in that aspects. But I'll lean. Yeah, I'll lean towards a close Thunder win. And then we'll see where game 4 goes. All right. Let me pull up the chat here. Let's see what you guys got. Any sports takes for me to answer. Alright, we're leaning towards the Pacers. I see in the poll. We got, hey Vid, how you doing, Vid? We got one vote. Room for the Pacers. Alright. Anything else? Okay, people on the shorts end, we're gonna do a hard out here. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. We'll see you in the next one.